145 CIC are the community investment company that's behind the Belfast Guitar Festival and the rock schools that you would see with kids in local festivals. The project came about because of the restrictions in COVID and the inability to play live music. The festival has now missed 3 years, so I didn't want to miss another year. We've always done things over the year, but this year has been a very particular barren year. So in my own studio, I've been looking at the idea of taking animations that are Creative Commons animation. Creative Commons means then that anybody can use them and you can download them from the internet and you're not creating a felony. So in a conversation with management, with Forestside, this came up in a conversation. They said it would be a really good idea to do in the Mall. So I took it on board. I approached a couple of composers, and I suppose what you're seeing in the Mall now is the result. My name's Paul McMorty, aka Then Man Made a Machine. As an artist, I am a visual composer. I write music for visuals, put it up on the internet and await the criticism. I'm particularly intrigued with the software Final Cut Pro and the ability to change any sort of film and make it into a pattern via an effect called kaleidoscope. I also like the idea of being able to bring textures to a film that not normally there. So you might see that some of the stuff I do looks like paper, or I'd marry it with an animation that I've seen before. I'll bleed it into the kaleidoscope so as it generates a whole new pattern. At this point, I'm at the mercy of the computer. So this is why when talking about Then Man Made a Machine, I often talk about it being a duo, where the other part of the duo is my computer, and whatever it decides to do, well then that's the other part of the process. My piece is called Tie-Dye, and I hope you enjoy it.
Bill Campbell. I'm a composer, guitar player, and teacher, facilitator. I started as a guitar player, sort of rock guitar player, and the composition came in later. I think it's when I went to university, study music, I started to get into composition then, and then took it further when I left university. Paul McMorty asked me to, I think he'd heard, well, I'm sure he'd heard my stuff before, and he said he liked it, so he asked me to get involved. The piece is Dancing on the Moon. It's 1936, and I liked it because there's dancing in it, so it was something I could relate to put the music to. There was timings there already, so all I had to do was sync the music to the movement. In the original score, which is really excellent, there's a song, but they use old songs like On the Silvery Moon, when the characters get to the moon and there's no place like home. Old songs, so the music's very sort of subservient to the film. So I thought I would try and get the music to a level that was equal to the music, or to the film, which sort of had an integrity, but also went along with the film. My piece is called Dancing on the Moon, and hope you enjoy it.
So my name is Junior Freefilm. I'm a guitar player based in Belfast. I primarily play in bands. My main band is Lockhorns, which is a heavy metal band. And pre-COVID, we were touring, playing shows internationally, locally, and then as a guitar player, I would do some session stuff for TV shows or artists who need guitar on their record to put out. So I've worked with Paul and alongside Paul McMorty of Ossia Music School and 145 CIC. During lockdown, there was just not really any opportunities for artists to showcase what we could do and even just express creatively. So there was this idea floating about of being able to create a piece and create music whilst locked in the house. Instead of, we didn't need a show, didn't need a stage to collaborate over a singular project. So I was asked if I would be willing to jump on and create a piece to a silent film, and the one I chose was Alice in Wonderland. So for that piece, that was as soon as they asked what I would do, it was Alice in Wonderland. Just I didn't even have to check whatever else I wanted to look at. It was just something about how it changes so quickly from scene to scene. It goes quite dark to quite light. It had so many variations and ups and downs in that piece that I could sort of, it was a challenge to try and have a piece that was upbeat, a piece that was slower. And not only that, because my primary instrument is guitar, I sort of stepped away from that for this and composed purely on software. So using a MIDI keyboard, which I could change to different sounds, kick drum, piano, whatever I needed it to be. So it was a challenge for myself during lockdown to be able to create a 10-minute piece without using my primary instrument. Yes, so my name's Junior Freefa. This is my interpretation of Alice in Wonderland. Hope you enjoy.
So my name's Gary Lutton. I'm a guitarist and a composer from Belfast. And I suppose a little bit about me. In 2015, I won a competition on Sky Arts called Guitar Star. And since then, I've kind of toured both as a solo artist, but also with other musicians like with Nit and Sonny. In addition to that, I also did a PhD at Ulster University in music. I finished that in 2019. And since then, I've just really been creating music and gigging around Belfast and Northern Ireland. So I got involved with the project through Paul from Ossia Music. He approached me and asked me to compose a piece of music for an animation. So the animation I chose for my composition was called The Milky Way, and I had a look at dozens of different animations, and I chose this one because I don't know, something about it really spoke to me. I liked the theme, and I liked how it was sort of divided into kind of 3 scenes. So that was my sort of approach to composing the music for it, was to take each scene as a kind of separate mood or a separate kind of atmosphere and compose specifically for that. So the first one, was really, based around a lot of kind of jazz and kind of old-timey song-based chords and music like that. And the second one then draws a little bit more, I suppose it's still kind of jazzy, but draws a little bit more on more contemporary jazz and Miles Davis sort of stuff. And then the final scene is actually electronic, because in the final scene, these kind of 3 kittens, they take a hot air balloon and they go up to the Milky Way galaxy. So I wanted to try and represent that musically, and I did that with kind of electronic effects. So the big inspiration for that really was artists like Tangerine Dream. So this is my piece called The Milky Way, and I hope you enjoy it.
My name is Neil O'Brien. I'm from Cork originally, but I've been living up in Belfast for about the past 2.5 years. The animation I did was by Lotte Reiniger, her adaptation of Hansel and Gretel. So I'm predominantly a solo acoustic guitarist, and while I do dabble in other bits and pieces, I decided to keep it that way for the animation. And what I noticed was, with this particular animation with Hansel and Gretel, it seemed to, one of my pieces is called Kush Game, which means footstep. Just for whatever reason, it seemed to gel with the animation. Now, I did have to kind of do a little bit of editing here and there in the animation in order to make it kind of fit the tune. Usually, I suppose with these things, the music is made to fit to the animation, but in this case, I had to make it fit kind of the tune which was already made. Yeah, so if people are interested in following up and learning more about my music, or listening to it, and you can follow up with neilobrianmusic.com. So that's NEILOBRIAIN music.com, and it's a good time to do so because my second album will be out before the end of this year. Yeah, I guess my music would definitely have its basis in trad. Depending on the particular piece or depending on the particular show, even the gig that I get, sometimes it could be a little bit further away from trad, sometimes it could be, pure trad. The interesting thing about the guitar, particularly solo guitar, when it's used as to play the melody and like that for trad, is that you're actually breaking out of the tradition in a way, because the guitar has more or less been used as a rhythm instrument predominantly in trad music. So even when you're tapping into trad, by playing it as a solo instrument, you're almost not going against the grain, so to speak, but you're tapping into something that hasn't been done to death, we'll say. So it's kind of nice. You get a mix. You get the grounding of staying within the tradition, but being able to do something that is still a little bit kind of untrodden, we'll say.